indeed they found this secret empire. I'm trying not to say words that I'm not supposed to say. Now they've come back. They're returning to Heathmore victorious. They've got all this gold that they've
Fala aí, meus queridos, começando a transmissão com um pouquinho de atraso, me desculpem aí, vim correndo. E, enfim, mas não perdi nada especial. Nova temporada de For Honor ano 7, temporada 2. Essa live é a live, eu tô fazendo o react da transmissão ao vivo, das lives dos desenvolvedores, tá? E por enquanto não tem nada de novidade, tem um trailer que eu já passei aqui no canal pra vocês. E o que nós esperávamos, a nova skin do personagem Warmonger, que é nessa pegada aí de conquistador espanhol. Vou deixar os desenvolvedores falando aqui um pouco, enquanto eu vou terminar de configurar a transmissão.
Which is a hero which we may introduce in YouTube. Hello.
The hero's in the cage? Oh,
the hero is in the cage that you'll see in the map.
That's not very nice.
No, that's not very nice at all. But you know, they're.
I mean, that's Horko's, right?
Yeah.
It is injustice, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. It is the year of injustice.
So I'm getting the vibe that because of an injustice, there's gonna be some vengeance.
Exactly.
Okay.
Almost like you figured it out. As always, if players want to learn more about Conquistador Vela and her
Ganância e Ambição. Um conto do mundo de Heathmore. A parte 1 estará disponível dia 9 de junho. Então, vai começar a narrativa aí, tá? Só tô compartilhando os links aqui, meu, fazendo tudo na correria hoje, desculpa aí. Vou explicar tudo. Vou explicar tudo pra vocês, tá? Tudo ao seu tempo. Calma aí. Ó, o cara falou que quem joga For Honor é nerd, como assim? Larga de nerdice, cara.
I always throw top heavy, so I do perfectly middle of the road. Never bottom frag, never the best, comfortably middle. So mid aft.
But we'll see.
Yeah, okay. But speaking of Conquistador Warmonger, and I really like the skin. It's very beautiful. How did you guys do it?
It is very beautiful. And,
olha aí, vamos primeiro. Uma Ástria loirinha, cabelo cacheadinho. Cara, bonita essa skin, hein? Achei interessante. Esse elmo aí, o Lawbringer já tem um elmo parecido. A pena, a Warmonger já tem a pena. Os caras foram malandro aí. Aproveitaram bem, né? O que já tinha no jogo.
And it was quite difficult to find the good reference, the historical reference of full armor that suits all our needs and tells the story of this character, because the story is
bom que vai ter a opção sem a capa também, né?
And, the armor is the way how we can tell the story of the character. So we combined the different pieces of the armor and added some conquistador feeling, so that's why you see this helmet.
Galera, nos intervalos aí que eles parar de falar tanto, eu vou falar mais, tá? Por enquanto eu vou deixar eles falando. Só me confirma aí se o áudio tá legal, o áudio deles e o meu, se o deles não tá muito baixo, muito alto. Me dá esse feedback aí, por favor, tá? Eu vim abrir a transmissão correndo aqui. E então ela vai ficar falando desses detalhes da armadura. Enquanto ela tá falando dos detalhes da armadura, eu vou falar um pouco sobre essa lore, que eu já cantei a bola. Para quem me acompanha aí no YouTube já viu que eu falei, vai ser uma Warmonger, né? A skin da Warmonger. A Warmonger na lore provavelmente é um conquistador espanhol seguindo a nossa... Espanhol assim, entre aspas, né? É um paralelo com a nossa história. Um conquistador que vai lá na tribo dos Azteca, faz alguma presepada, rouba eles lá, enfim, né? E aí o personagem provavelmente vai ser Azteca mesmo. Isso já dava pra saber, mas acho que agora a história só tá se confirmando.
Yes, it's a little bit blood, so you see here also we use a lot of red color and the
bem bonito, hein, meu, esse Warmonger, cara. Eu gostei. Embora claramente seja tudo reaproveitado, né? Mas tá muito bonito, viu?
Yeah. But this
Eu
is,
sou suspeito pra falar de armadura de cavaleiro, porque eu acho foda, mas
you see this golden trims that kind of tells the
os
story
detalhes,
of
né?
these
Bem bonito
characters.
mesmo.
And it says that they're greedy. And also I want to point out this effect that we have on the armor.
Muito
that
lindo.
also represents
O
this,
sol, né? Ó,
like
no
fierce
elmo ali.
fighting.
Porra, muito bonito, cara.
It's very much RTX on.
Tá lindo, tá
Levels of
lindo.
shiny.
Ah, ó os detalhes do brilho no
It's
peito,
so
assim.
good.
It is.
Um,
And our players will be able to change the color to their needs, and they can
A qualidade
create
aqui
their
tá
own,
HD, mas
version of,
acho que o próprio vídeo dele está com uma qualidade meio
nice,
bosta,
so all the material colors
né?
will be
O próprio vídeo do personagem não tá em HD, não. Porque aqui a qualidade tá boa, ali no jogo tá uma qualidade meio feia. Mas, nossa,
And I just
bonitaço.
love all the material selections that's gone into this. There's a lot of subtle things that if you're a huge like arms and armor nerd that really stand out. The Damascus steel on the blade of the flamberge, and like just a lot of other little elements. I like the Milanese scallops on the shoulder. It's like you guys did a really great job on it. It looks incredible, and I'm excited to see Conquistador Vela and to learn more about her. And for those of you
Conquistador,
who are
como que é o
also
nome dela?
again, the Conquistador Vela skin will be
Velas?
starting next week, June 15th.
Conquistador Velas, é isso?
25k steel, standard price. So, thank you so much, Anna, for taking us through everything. I don't think we missed anything, did we? Did we miss a mood board?
Yes.
I think we did. I think I messed
I
up.
think we did.
Yeah. So, yeah, here's the mood board.
Yep.
Ah, tá. Isso daí é as cores que ela se inspirou, né? As imagens que ela se inspirou pra fazer o personagem.
All the reference images that,
As imagens de referência.
to create this,
Coisa de artista, né?
so you see there's a lot of gold, of course, and it's not just like nice and shiny gold. It's also, you see this, it's a liquid gold.
Meteu uns papagaio, umas orquídeas ali. Orquídeas? Eu não manjo nada de flor. Eu meti uma orquídea, não sei. Mas o papagaio aqui, acho que dá pra falar que é um papagaio, né? Então ela misturou um papagaio, um periquito. Não, isso aqui não é um periquito. Não sei que pássaro é esse. Umas orquídeas aqui, festa junina, ouro e gaiola. E onça também. E pavão. E aí ficou o personagem novo. Eu não sei, né, como ela se inspirou com todas essas coisas, mas o resultado final é muito bonito.
Yeah.
They went to the new world like, ooh, shiny mine.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, exactly.
No, if you've ever been in like a historic building that's way too opulent, just like a little too opulent, you're like, this is very beautiful. I'm very uncomfortable. Let's go get ice cream now.
Vamos ver o que eles vão falar
and,
agora.
Julian, so tell us a bit about what players can expect. I know
Você sabe que minha
that
parte é
you
mais
did,
referente a gameplay, né? Essa parte de arte aí eu...
and I didn't even have a segue.
Tanto eu quanto vocês, né? A gente só olha e fala, ah, da hora. Agora mostra o gameplay aí.
25, if it was portraying the injustice theme of year 7 with more of a gloomy atmosphere, season 26 is definitely going to bring it more to the colorful, playful manner. And so essentially from a in-game realization standpoint.
Olha que da hora o cenário, tipo...
And then we're gonna crash later.
A tela do loading vai ser um bagulho de ouro, né? Tipo a torre do tio Patinhas.
Crash to party.
Nossa, ninguém do chat vai saber o que é a torre do tio Patinhas. Os Minions vai ter uns chifres. A mulher dos Minions andou pulando a cerca aí. Os cenários terão... Ó que da hora essa onça pintura. A cabeça de porco ali, ó. Ah, a arca que eles trouxeram, né? Será que dentro dessa arca vai estar o personagem novo? Aí, tipo, abre a arca, tá um personagem novo lá dentro. Quer valer quanto? Caramba, meteram um barco no meio do... Uma samambaia, olha que da hora. Pô, isso daí não era cheio de água, né? Isso aí não tinha água. Ali era um penhasco. Como que isso daí encheu tanto de água assim?
Yeah, I love the blue
Nossa,
base
mudaram
stuff and
bastante,
all
hein?
these warm colors coming up from the shard, and it really kind of
Cara, eu acho que é uma das maiores mudanças aí que eu já vi de cenário. Não sei se é impressão
it
minha,
doesn't quite
There
doesn't
it
quite
is.
check.
mas eu tô
Yeah,
tendo a
it's
impressão de
like
bastante mudança, né?
This is appealing, yeah.
Bonito. Pena que a gente
Something's
no
done.
combate do jogo a gente passa correndo por esses detalhes e nem vê. Ó, você quer valer quanto que o novo personagem tá dentro dessa gaiola aí?
Luck pineapples.
Yeah, I mean,
Já pensou, velho?
I mean,
no,
it-
like I said, like we are throwing a party, so I mean, you gotta have your pig head, right?
Oh yeah.
Right? Yeah, yeah.
There you go.
Gotta have it. Essential.
So in
Banquetezão.
the map, you're gonna see again, like the first thing you're gonna notice is the goldification.
Será que vai ser só no evento ou no modo domínio vai estar isso daí também?
Giddy as can be. So you've got like molten gold.
Ah,
you've
se
got
liga ali, ó.
gold
É
gold
ouro
That's
derretido
all, displays
nos
of
lugarzinhos.
extravagant, you know,
Eu não sei se tem
display
muito
of
sentido,
finance,
né?
you know,
Tipo, os caras pegaram vários elementos, taca no cenário. Porque, tipo, mano, qual o sentido de ter ouro derretendo ali?
this is- and again, like, to-
Uma onça,
what Ian was
ouro
saying, there's
derretido,
gold
um
in
navio,
duffing it,
um
and
papagaio. Os caras, tipo,
that's
pega tudo que é maia, asteca e mete no cenário aí. Já era.
In there, so quite literally fountains of gold.
I mean, yeah, and like the trouble you have to get into to
Oh yeah.
you know produce a fountain of gold. But,
Yeah, but don't
you
eat it though.
Yeah.
it's not-
Yeah.
Don't eat, don't
Yeah.
bathe, but
Don't. It wouldn't be good.
No.
It wouldn't be good.
so when you navigate into the map, you also might be building up an appetite. And yes, it's barbecue season, of course, but that's not the reason why. The reason why is every capture point has an exquisite feast that's on display.
Cada ponto de
You know,
captura
conquistadors came
tem
back,
um
got a very
banquete.
important,
É
very
isso?
special prisoner, and then they're just prepping festivities before.
Ah, certeza, mano, que aquela gaiola é onde tá o novo personagem.
Execution, so they're, you know,
O Armonger foi lá
basically.
na
Oh,
América e
that's gotta be
capturou o
jealous.
personagem novo.
Now they've got all the feast.
The feast,
now.
they've got the wine,
Yeah.
they've got
Just
you know.
ended his celebration.
I know.
Like,
It's like
yeah.
son of a.
yeah.
Defend the feast wall.
Assim que eu puder, eu vou entrar no jogo, vou no modo câmera e vou ver se eu acho o que tem dentro dessa gaiola aí.
Exotic animals as centerpieces as well. So yeah, between battles, enjoy the festivities. There's one thing I have to mention. There's the cage that is put on display during the TU. If you want to just pass by, see, you might hear some interesting things, maybe clues.
I love a good clue.
Ele acabou de falar o que eu.
I was really good at clues.
Vai ter uma gaiola lá, você pode passar, procurar por pistas,
One
né?
detail that's really cool too, Brian, is
Não precisa ser muito gênio pra deduzir isso
one of my
também.
personal favorite touches is essentially you've got the sky that's really menacing and threatening. You've got the sea that's angry as well. Yet again, you've got like this festive backdrop going on. So maybe something, you know, forth telling as to what's to come. We'll see.
All right. So the lore junkies can crank up the volume and sneak around the
It-
map, see what they can find.
Indeed.
All right.
They might need a dictionary
Uh oh.
to other languages.
Uh oh.
I'm just gonna say.
Get that.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Get that Google
Perhaps.
Translate going.
Yeah.
Perhaps.
translators.
I think it said this.
Legal.
So yeah, thank you so much for taking us through. all of
Interessante,
that.
né? Vamos ver esse cenário como vai estar.
And doing
Vamos
a
ver se dá pra
job.
entrar no modo câmera e ver o que
Already
tem
on the
por trás da cortina naquela gaiola, né?
Before we move on to the next segment, though, we got a lot to talk about in the Battle Pass, and we also have a free event pass. So coming up in the Battle Pass, we've got a lot of
Passe
stuff.
de batalha aí,
Real
galera.
quick, we've got a
Vocês que
mood
gostam
effect,
de
the
roupinha.
Vengeful Prowler, and I really like this one. I like the glowing eyes.
Meu
the
Deus, coisa
ominous.
feia.
And then we also have the Vengeful Jaguar. Well, I think there's two. I think there's two mood
Esses
effects.
emotes são
There's
muito
Vengeful
feios, né?
Prowler, Vengeful Jaguar. I think I set them backwards,
A lot of vengeance.
or Max got them backwards. We'll blame Max. And then we've got a battle outfit.
Ih, o
with
Nightbot
Vengeful
não tá
Vindicator.
funcionando.
Again, lots of vengeance going on. Every say what?
It's an eagle. Vengeful
Oh.
eagle.
They're all backwards on the cheat sheet. I'm just gonna look at the screen.
Yeah.
The Vengeful Eagle followed by Vengeful Vindicator on everybody's favorite Warden Larry here. And then we've got an ornament, hopefully. Yeah, nailed that one. Nailed that one.
Nossa
The
senhora,
Vengeful
muito
Serpent
feio esses
is a
ornamentos.
snack. And then we've got the Jungle Pal, so you can pet the
Aí, ó, pra
snake.
quem gosta de cobra.
Danger Noodle, indeed. And then I believe we have yet another secret Danger Noodle. Not in this one. That's later on. Spoilers. This one I really like. Execution Hot Potato as a native.
Aquelas execução feia pra caralho.
And then we've got a sneak peek of the weapons that will be coming with the Battle Pass. So everybody's favorite Thigh Guy Highlander. You can see that weapon there. And Conquer the Bonker with his
Bonito esse escudo, hein?
vengeful weapon. So combo. And I really love the flail on this one. The Jaguar head's really great. Can't wait to slap someone in the face with it. And then in addition to this, we've got the free event pass coming up. We've got a battle outfit, Wonders of Gold. Do we? That way, whatever. We do. So we got Wonders of Gold battle outfit. We've got another ornament, which is the New World Eclipse.
Cara, eu não sei porque eles perdem tempo ainda a fazer esses ornamentos,
Big
velho.
head or shoulders. And then we've got the heap of gold effect. or heap
Muito
of
feio,
gold,
né?
If you're not sporting a like Midwest accent. And then we've got the free event pass weapons. So
Galera, deixa o like na transmissão aí,
get
por
the
favor.
photos here, and then we'll have,
Lembra aí.
full
De deixar o
story
like pra
segments.
gente assistir junto e comentando aí.
Segments.
E o YouTube não dropar meu canal.
Everybody's favorite stick boy, Shugo. Yeah.
He's having a ball at
He
the
l-
feast.
Yeah.
You know
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, he loves the club. He
Yeah.
just gets this party on.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, quick recap. Any last words before we move to the next
I
segment?
mean, I think we should.
Vamos
decide
para o
on
que
the
importa
teaser.
agora.
It was, the skin is amazing, the map realization's amazing, the lore is just like the best we've ever done. No, kidding.
The best that has ever been.
It's gold.
It's gold, Cherry.
It's gold.
It's gold.
Jerry. Go.
Dating myself with that one.
I think
So-
Seinfeld's not that.
yeah, it is.
Yeah. Okay.
But Steven, Ian, Anna, Julian, thank you so much for joining me for this segment. For those of you at home, stick around. We're going to come back and talk about building some new tech under For Honor. so
New
we can
Tech,
afford,
cara.
a
New
lot of
Tech,
awesome
esses negócios me
stuff.
dão um medo.
And in the meantime, we're going to show you
Vamos ver o que é esse
some
New
of
Tech
the
aí.
Pass and Battle Pass weapons. And stick around. We'll be back with new onboarding flow.
Ó as armas aí, ó. O que vocês acham dessas armas? Pô, bonitinha até, porque essa mistura de dourado eu acho legal. Isso tá bonito pra mim, na minha opinião. Eu acho que a arma dourada sempre dá pra combinar legal com outras, com qualquer outro tipo de material, né? Bonitos. Comparado a outras seasons aí que as armas pareciam de plástico, né? Essas armas aí até... Olha esse escudo do Warlord. Não, só essas bolinhas na borda que mata, né? As bolinhas na borda ali mataram o escudo. Essa katana feia. Katana não, isso aí é o Odashi do Kensei, né? Só porque eu falei que não tava aparecendo de brinquedo, já as dos samurais eu tô achando que parece de brinquedo. Já não gostei muito. Feinha, hein, meu? Essas do samurai eu achei todas feias. É, só dos Cavaleiros Viking, tava da hora mesmo. Que é isso, velho? A espada tem um monte de... Parece aquelas armas do... Aquelas armas do... Como que é, velho? Aquele jogo... Aquele jogo que você... Fallout, tá ligado? Você fica pegando cano, solda o cano com uma lâmina e faz uma arma. Umas armas feias do diabo. Ó do pirata. Ixi, eu não gostei dessas armas, essas últimas aí não. Eu acho que quanto mais elemento, tipo quadriculado, que tira a característica da arma, eu acho que fica mais zoado, na minha opinião. Eu acho que a arma tem que ter cara de arma, né, com pequenos detalhes, mas whatever. Até entendo que os caras têm que fazer algo diferente, né? Mais armas? Aquelas eram do passe de batalha e essa é da temporada, é isso? Nossa, que Flamberg feia. Não, mano, nada de... Só a skin do Armonger por enquanto. Essas são as armas. Feio demais, cara. Esse escudo aí tá horrível. Galera, fala aí da opinião de vocês, o que vocês estão achando dessas armas, mas eu... É difícil achar essas armas bonitas, né? É uma ou outra assim que eu acho legal. Mas vou deixar vocês irem apreciando aí. Eu acho que essas são as armas que não é do passe de batalha, certo? Se eu entendi bem. Essas são as do evento. The Stolen Empire. Então essas são as armas do evento e aquelas que a gente viu era do passe de batalha. Agora imagina pro designer, cara, ele tem que fazer duas armas diferentes do mesmo tema. Por isso que eu acho que fica mó macaquice. Uma Sakari da Hitokiri. Uma lâmina que tem espinhos totalmente sem propósito, né? Você pôr espinhos no meio da lâmina. Não, aquele escudo do Kong tá muito feio, Deus o livre. Tá escrito ali embaixo, dia 15 de junho até 6 de julho é o evento The Stolen Empire. O Império Roubado, é isso? Então, provavelmente essas armas serão drop de qualquer modo, né? Durante o período do evento, tá? Ah, o do Medjay até que tá ok. A do Medjay acho que até ficou legal. Boa! New Onboarding Flow, cara. Aí que tá, hein? Tô curioso pra saber o que é isso aí. que é esse novo tech aí que eles vão colocar? Bom que a primeira parte que eu perdi ali do comecinho da live não é nada
Welcome
útil,
back,
né?
everybody.
Eita,
Joining
a mulher tomou
me
um choque
on the
ali, ó.
couches today for the very first time on the Warriors Den is Miss MC,
Hi.
Anthony,
Hello.
and Catherine. So, since it's your first time on the show, why don't you guys take a quick sec, introduce yourself, talk about what you do. MC, let you go first.
Mulher das cavernas.
I've been a production manager on For Honor for a year now, and I'm in charge of the UI and VFX teams. So this is part of the UI team. We also have Maria, who's not with us right now.
Parte
Awesome.
da
What
Y.
about you, Anthony?
Y é tipo o que a gente vê na tela ali, né?
Specialist for the UI cell. So do a lot of testing, making sure that we provide a quality UI for all of you guys to enjoy.
Vamos ver o que será que eles vão mudar.
Exactly.
All right.
Keep this one on track.
I am unmanageable.
And Catherine, how about you? I believe you do a lot with UI, right?
Yes, I am one of For Honor's UI artists, so I create a lot of the assets you see on the UI.
A mina
I
tem
design a
uma
lot of the
braceta
screens,
forte, hein,
and also
mano?
help with in-engine implementation.
Uma puxando um ferro.
Yes, I do.
Yeah,
A Val que a mina.
That's a heavy load. That's a lot to do. So, why don't we just talk about? There's a lot of awesomeness to talk about today. So,
Temos
MC, I'll
muito o
let
que
you
falar
go
sobre a Y,
kick
tô
us off
curioso.
with What can players expect? Because I know this is a moment where
Yeah.
like it might not be super obvious what we've done, but a lot of work went into improving a lot of like underlying tech.
Indeed. Under the hood, yeah, the dev team has been really, really hard at work to really reinvent the onboarding for new, but also for current players to, again, give a safer bridge to the multiplayer. So we want to make the game more accessible, because we know For Honor sometimes once you first get to it,
Eles querem
it's
fazer o
harder to
jogo mais
understand,
acessível.
FDM, dodge and roll trial. And so
Well,
we,
especially like 7 years after launch.
yeah.
Like you go from campaign.
É o que eu sempre
to
falo, o
online
jogo não é
multiplayer, and it's a real
muito
rough switcheroo. Like,
convidativo para novos jogadores, né?
it would be
Agora eu não sei
hard to
como que
tell
a
how to
mudança da Wii vai melhorar alguma coisa nisso.
And
Vamos ver.
so we've decided to really simplify and really streamline the tutorials. So
Ah, tá.
right now, all tutorials
Melhoraram o
are
tutorial.
online, so from the start. So whether you're a new warrior or whether you're an experienced player, you can sharpen the skill you want at the time you want.
Tá.
So that's really
Ótimo.
good. From there, we've also decided to join the apprentice and the warrior trial.
Sim. Coisa que a
Again,
gente já reivindicava há muito tempo. Ensinar coisas básicas do jogo que o tutorial não ensina.
And that's excellent. 'Cause
Yeah.
Mas vou dar um spoiler
if
para
being
vocês,
honest,
desenvolvedores. A galera não faz
some of us
tutorial.
may have completed the apprentice trials and then never looked back. And I have a feeling I'm not alone in that.
É tipo assim, eles melhoraram coisas do jogo para você treinar. É isso. Normalmente a gente quer treinar parry. Você chega, coloca um bot, configura o bot para dar ataque leve, sabe? Mas quem não conhece não sabe. Então eles vão fazer esses modos aí para facilitar, né? Todas essas mecânicas de vingança, saber o que dá vingança, o que não dá vingança.
To improve the contents, which you'll see with Anto in a few seconds. Again, to give access to the basic knowledge that you need to win those matches, to reduce frustration also.
Sim,
And
isso é bom.
just play the games, enjoy.
Isso, para quem não sabe, é uma
So,
reivindicação já
basically, bottom
antiga
line,
dos
a
jogadores, tá?
brand new onboarding, a brand new experience to
Por
better
sinal, é
help
algo bem
you, but
básico,
also
né?
current players to win those great battles.
Get in, get good, get out.
Exactly.
Awesome.
Boom pow.
Yeah, and Anthony, I know a lot was done to optimize the experience. And that you
Eu não
had,
sei ainda o que tem nesse
involved.
tutorial, mas a ideia já é boa, né?
Yeah, there's a lot of ideas thrown around everywhere, and then what we wanted to do was to drastically shorten and streamline the tutorials down to a list of 9. So, like MC said, we've combined Apprentice and the Warrior tutorial. And that way you get the full list all at once, so that even if you're an
Okay.
experienced player and you just want to practice how to parry, you just want to learn how to parry those heavies, well, you can just go and do that. But we really streamlined them so that they're stripped down to their core mechanic for new players to learn easily and efficiently how to play the game. Because we all know that playing with friends is much more fun. So
we want you to join to have your friend join you in the game, in the battlefield, and that way that will help them that way.
So how's that going to impact players in terms of earning their rewards, since everything's all in one place now?
So right now, since that we've also, in order to streamline and shorten,
Eles vão dar recompensa ainda.
we've removed
Tem que dar uma
side
recompensa, né?
objectives and,
Ninguém quer fazer tutorial
so
normal.
a lot of the main objectives as well, so shorten that way. But we remove some of the side objectives, so you won't.
Bom, cara, eu vou até fazer um vídeo no YouTube assim que lançarem isso. Eu acho que vale eu fazer um vídeo especial pra isso, cara. É bem relevante pra novos jogadores, viu?
So now, what you can do is just complete online tutorials, and you'll be able to receive steel ornaments, symbols, and emblem symbols.
And so if I'm a player who maybe did part of the trials before, like I'm not saying it was me,
No.
but maybe I had some I hadn't done yet. How's that going to impact those rewards?
Yeah, so everything is going to be recentered, so transferred to the new flow. So whichever trials that you've completed before are going to be transferred to the new tutorial flow, so you won't have to redo them. And all you'll need to do is complete all the tutorials, and you'll get all the remaining rewards. They won't stack though, so if you've earned the ornaments before, you won't have the ornament in double. But if you weren't able to get that ornament because you couldn't get an A in dodge and roll, well, then at this point you'll be able to get that ornament finally.
Okay, yeah. So if you were like, I'm not doing this, I don't like this, but I wish I had that, but I'm not going to do it. Now you can just pop in, do it. Everything's a lot more straightforward. And I believe we got rid of some stuff that just was not helpful in the modern context of For Honor.
Yeah, so when reviewing the onboarding, we realized that 7 years is a long time, and things change in 7 years. And we wanted to just modernize the process. So some tutorials, such as stamina, which was a bit challenging. Yeah, just I was wondering, why can't I hit? Well, we've removed the tutorial. Now we've actually added basically a pop-up that will appear whenever in every tutorial that you do. Whenever you run out of stamina, you'll have that pop-up that will appear to show you to explain that you've run out of stamina, what you can do, stop throwing heavies, in order to regain it.
And I believe that one went in last season, right?
What went in is actually some pop-up that's under the HUD. So right under your health bar, there's going to be a no stamina seize attack that appears. So that one's going to be by default enabled onto the for every tutorial, so that you'll have it in your face all the time during the tutorial. And if you still need it when you're starting the game, then at this point you can enable it in the option as well, so that you can have it in any online game mode as well.
Yeah, I
Basicamente,
when it popped up
tá falando
last
nenhuma
season,
novidade, não.
that's really helpful.
Só alguns detalhes bem básicos,
All
assim,
of
que
it
pra
goes
quem já é player, né?
just a little
Pra
bubble
gente,
up
tudo
there. And I keep throwing
não vai mudar muita
heavies,
coisa.
even
Mas pra
though,
quem é
I got
iniciante,
stamina. I'm like, oh, right.
basicamente tutoriais de maior qualidade, né? Esse negócio de estamina até eu acho irrelevante, mas mecânicas tipo vingança, external block, sabe, ataque locado, iframes, isso tinha que ter uma explicaçãozinha.
In which you're going to be fighting with and against bots. Before that match also, there's going to be a little screen that appears that shows dynamically with little animations. That's very interactive.
Acho que o jogo nem explicava o que era ataque inesquivável, né?
Very quickly, very efficiently how to play the game. So what are the scoring mechanics? What are your feats? What is breaking? And how to win the game. So you won't have to try to figure it out on your own. You'll have all the information at one go when you start to practice match. And,
Isso aí não vai adiantar não, meu amigo. Você pode botar isso aí quantas vezes você quiser. O player só quer saber de matar o outro, não importa o modo que ele tá jogando. Mas a iniciativa é louvável.
And really, without the pressure of playing with and or against other players.
I'm excited to see how this helps new players. If they come in, they're able to kind of like sink their teeth into Dominion a little easier without going like, what am I doing here? Where am I supposed to be? I guess I'll just stand on A for the entire match. And if someone comes here, I'll fight them. And so I know that was kind of some of the problems we were seeing under the old flow.
Exactly. We really smoothened that curve with adding to practice the million match in order to help the players who are new to the game to get into that very popular game mode that everyone plays. Because at first it's not very straightforward. So that way you get all the information, you get to practice. You can always go back to it at any time because all the tutorials are available. Even if you finished everything, you'll be able to do them.
Nice. Looking forward to it. And
Legal. Estão chovendo no molhado aí, galera. Não tem nem muito o que eu explicar, porque tá falando só coisas
Yes.
dos tutoriais que é entrar e fazer, né, meu?
Existing players might notice the UI and be like, I don't see a lot of changes.
A mistura do Salsicha com a Valkyria aí, ó.
Maintain a certain standard
yeah, if we
within
change
the
everything.
entire game, but a lot of the changes were under the hood in terms of like UI framework for it to be better optimized or nice and speedy and crisp.
And it's a completely new framework, right? Like ground up.
Exactly, it's the one that's been implemented in the game since, I guess, Marching Fire.
Eles estão usando a mesma animação para explicar diferentes coisas. Isso tá meio sem propósito, né? O mesmo vídeo passando, eles estão falando de outras coisas e tá passando toda hora o mesmo vídeo.
New objective, your grocery list, like you've blocked 2-3 times, perfect, you're done. In terms of pop-up, because we have this new framework, we were able to use more dynamic assets, which means more animations, more one-to-one with the real UI, less screenshots, basically.
Yeah.
And also by rebuilding these animations, like even the controller in the pop-up, rebuilding this animation in this new framework means that I could apply dynamically colors using the game engine, which means that now a lot of these assets will be colorblind friendly. So if you activate a color,
Dá agonia de ver esse guardião punindo o guard break com um light.
you see the pop-up, and then we hope you'll be able to see the highlights and have.
Eu já não devia nem passar isso no tutorial.
That's one example of how we
Guardião punindo o guard break com light de ataque sem parar. Tá me irritando isso.
A lot of the information is more dynamic. So if we make changes,
Por exemplo, o sistema de punição, né? Será que ensina nesse novo tutorial?
Yeah, it's been a very big labor of love tech-wise, and we hope that when you play the tutorial and you see this UI, that you know that it's not in your way.
Yeah.
That it helps you understand and that it helps you get through the tutorials.
Yeah, that's kind of at least that's like my opinion. Is like the best UI design is one you don't notice. It's there. You're not going like, oh, why didn't they do X? Why didn't they do Y? It's just there. You use it and you don't really think about it.
It needs to be there when you need it, and it needs to not be there when you're trying to do something.
Yeah, so I know this is really exciting for the team. It opens up a lot of like future proofing and like options for the future of For Honor. And it's nice to take a moment, kind of shine a light on that, because a lot of work goes into some of these things, but they're not necessarily evident from like the player's end. And that's kind of by design. Like if we changed everything, you'd be like, what are you doing? So like my muscle memory, my brain memory, all my synapses are wired for this information to be here in this way. And if we change that, then that's a problem. But it's nice to like at least surface and say, hey, you know, we rebuilt this thing so that it can be like leaner, cleaner, faster, meaner, like everything.
Yeah, and even we showed a bit of the menus before, like the list with the tutorials. Like you'll notice like little additions with more images, more icons, more information, so that when you go back, you can quickly find the tutorial if you want to redo like the parry and things like that.
And I'm very excited about all the additions to like,
Interessantíssimo.
oh no.
Nada de novo.
Accessibility.
Yeah.
Options, because like my childhood best friend, red blue colorblind, can't tell the difference between like hot pink and like neon blue, and so For Honor for him is just brown. The whole game's just brown. So that's really awesome to hear. And any last thoughts, MC, before?
Yeah. Well, just a big, huge shout out to the dev team that has worked on it. It was a huge undertaking. As we've mentioned, you might not see everything that we put into it, but thanks to our prog team, our tech team, design team, Tommy especially, that helped us out to really produce and ship onboarding. For us, it was a huge mandate, and we're really happy to present it to every players. And thanks to you for receiving us on the couch.
Yeah, thanks for joining me. And for those of you at home, stick around because we're going to be right back with the Lord and Savior for honor, Mr. JC Franet.
Ai, ai, vamos lá.
And and we'll be right back. You guys don't go anywhere.
Muito tempo falando sobre agora sim, Patch Notes. Esse era o novo tech? Mudou os tutoriais do jogo. Nossa. 1000 anos explicando que mudou o tutorial. Legal, já entendemos, né? O cara fica lá 10 minutos falando a mesma coisa. Beleza, vamos ver Patch Notes agora. Talvez tenha conteúdo mais interessante. Tem que fazer a live durar, né, galera? Tem que fazer. Pô, melhorou os tutoriais, ok. Próximo assunto, vamos para balancing. Vamos falar do herói novo, que é o que importa, né? Vamos ver. Cara, eu não espero nada nesse Patch Notes não, hein? O que tem, será? Porque os reworks ali da Nushia e do Lawbringer não entram em Patch Notes. Entraria em Testing Grounds, né? Então, Patch Notes, correções pequenas de coisas que tem no jogo. O que será? Escudinho do BP, vão tirar. O que tem de quebrado aí atualmente, hein? O pessoal tá falando que o Guindaste foi buscar o JC. O Guindaste foi buscar o maluco. O maluco tá se derramando no sofá. Olha lá.
Hello, welcome back, everybody. We are transitioning out of the awesome onboarding flow right now, and to talk about all of our favorite subjects, patch notes, what's new, what's
Exatamente.
coming to the game, what'll be live next week for you all to enjoy. And who better to talk about all of that than, yes, indeed, JC is back with us on the couch today. Welcome, JC.
Thank you. Welcome to you.
All right. Well,
I don't know if I should welcome you. You've been here already.
you can welcome me. I'm fine with that.
All right, that's
I don't
good.
mind. I
That
don't mind.
works.
I feel welcome now. So
That's good.
That's very good. All right. So JC, a new season, new title update dropping next week. Obviously, we've got some changes we want to discuss. Maybe some that'll be surprising. Maybe some that
Some
we'll talk about
surprising?
a little later. But,
Será
who,
que a gente vai se
what should we
surpreender?
start with?
All right. Well, let's get started then.
Vamos lá.
So first up,
Nushia.
as some of you, I'm guessing most of you,
Heavy Attack now cancel to Glowwatts. A trap dela vai ser mais rápida.
So the feedback we got for Nusha was very positive. It was working super well.
Quer dizer que
The change that we did for
feedback
traps for Glass Vault and J Ballet
do Testing Grounds dela.
pretty much becoming unreactable. Like we've even had people say, "Oh yeah, it's reactable," and then no, it wasn't. So that's great.
Então é isso, a trap vai ficar mais rápida, tá? Teoricamente o Testing Grounds da Nushia era basicamente isso, uma trap mais rápida, então a trap dela vai ficar mais rápida. Mais rápida dos Heavies, mais rápida do Zone e... O que é Glass Waltz, mano? Eu acho que... Nossa.
Right? So when you used to play with Nusha,
Peraí, deixa eu ouvir o que ele tá
you have a
falando.
heavy soft feint to Glass Waltz, for example, and it would land the exact same time as the hit would have landed, right? So you need to block it at the right time, parry at the right time, do all that sort of stuff. This does not change. However, what does change is okay, this is weird. Okay, so what does change? Sorry, tech issues. That always happens with live stuff, right?
A little bit.
Yeah. So what does change, however, is the fact that the soft feint, basically like the cancels to Glass Waltz and J Ballet come out a little bit later, and the trap itself is a bit faster. So because of this, it's like a little bit later than normal feint timing. So it's even harder to tell if somebody fainted or is going to use it. And on top of that, it's so much faster. Like that 100 ms pushes it toward being fully unreactable, which means that it's going to be like it's a lot easier to land and it's a lot harder to react, right? You really have to make a read.
Tá, você vai ter mais tempo para decidir se vai ser um heavy ou um soft feint para trap. Só que ele vai ser mais rápido ao executar a trap, pelo que eu entendi é isso.
And we're really happy that we found a solution that worked for this.
Oh, I'm super happy too, because Nusha's like just hands down my favorite Wulin, my favorite of the assassins, just because she looks so darn cool.
Yeah,
she
does.
Weapons,
she really does, and like everything's so unique about this character.
It's so
that,
unique.
You know, we really wanted to, and I'm super happy that we're actually able to keep it and to have that function in there, right? Because otherwise,
então, galera, o Jade Ballet é do Zone, Glass Waltz é a trap.
Okay, so next up, Warden. So Warden's been underperforming for a little while. Unless you count
Olha aí, side heavy do Warden mais rápido. Porra! Eita caramba! Agora sim! Side heavy do Warden vai ser mais rápido, vai pegar um alcance maior. E o shoulder bash agora é muito mais rápido. Caramba, será que isso aí vai resolver o Warden? Ah, porra, fez. A câmera tá tampando, né? Pera aí, galera. Foi mal. Aí. Então, basicamente, o side heavy finalizador do guardião, aquele imbloqueável, tá? Ele tá mais rápido, vai ter um alcance maior, e a ombrada pra frente agora, ela é muito mais rápida. Pro lado não, mas pra frente ela vai ser muito mais rápida.
So it doesn't 100% match the weapon, but we can cheat that a little bit so that it hits people around you way better.
Tô mudando toda a minha interface, menos a cam. Impressionante.
Warren can actually defend himself around with people around him.
Pronto.
Really hit them on the side. So that works
E aí dá pra vocês prestar atenção no que eu tô explicando.
Yeah.
Mas é isso, eu tô resumindo, tá? Explicando bem. As trap da Nuxia ficaram mais rápido e o guardião vai ter um side heavy mais rápido, de 800 ms, né? Era 900, e pegando um alcance maior. E o dash pra frente, a ombrada pra frente vai ser muito mais rápida.
We're super comfortable making it start at 100 ms in your front dodge. So that accomplishes a couple things. It's going to come out 200 ms faster if you just buffer everything, right? Which makes a big difference. It's a bit harder to react to, and you can also delay it even more, right? So if you think somebody's going to like try to dodge super early or dodge later, do whatever you want to do, like it gives you a lot more versatility with Warden. It should make it a lot easier to open up people with. And so shoulder bash is a really great tool for Warden, right? Like it lets you.
Cara, isso vai ajudar muito o guardião. Muito mesmo. Só ele ter uma arma na teamfight já, porra, vai ajudar muito.
These small changes should really help the viability in the minion at least. Also in duels a little bit with the opening with shoulder bash. So we're confident that it's going to keep going forward. And we're still keeping an eye on Warden, right? Because even with this, might not get to, S tier or something, which is okay. But if the hero is still really underperforming, we can still keep it going and do more changes, as we've been doing for quite a bit now.
Cara, pra duelo ele vai ficar muito melhor, né? Ele já em alto nível, né?
List of underperforming heroes is
Hitokiri! Ah, moleque! Opener. Eu não quero nem esperar ele falar, eu já quero ler, né? Deixa eu ficar quieto aqui, depois eu explico.
Sometimes it's a bit of a noob stomper, like it's very effective at lower levels.
I didn't want to say anything because I mean, when you said that, I'm like, what do you mean underperforming? Oh no,
right?
Am I the noob being stomped?
That's the thing.
Oh,
Right?
no.
So we've tried to focus some changes to Hito that are shouldn't really affect much lower level, but should have higher impact, like a lot more impact at higher level, so that the hero's more playable. She's gonna be a little bit more accessible, but have a bit more power there. So what we've been doing is, first of all, her heavy openers, right? So before they if you remember Launch Hito Kiri, right?
I do remember launching.
Launch Hito was like very strong because Launch Hito had uninterruptible stance on those opener heavies, but very, very, very early,
Right.
which led to the much loved.
Tá, tô falando que
heavy
quando
on red
lançou, a
meat,
Rito tinha
heavy
Hyper
on
Armor muito rápida no
So,
Heavy. E era
so we
quebrada.
ended up
Ok.
removing the armor there, like
Yeah.
armor.
Aí deixaram a Hyper Armor muito lenta e ela ficou
because it was,
uma
like, a little bit
bosta.
too strong, and we wanted to like really like bring the power level down for the hero. However, as we've been going on and advancing with the hero and like doing a lot more heroes, a lot more reworks, a lot more that sort of stuff, Hito kind of fell down in the rankings and like not as playable as it used to be. So we're adding back armor there, but we're adding it back at 500 MS at the earliest.
Okay.
So basically, it's like if you tap heavy, then 500 MS into that, you're gonna get armor, right? So if you
Tá.
charge it a little bit longer,
500 MS a partir do momento que você
little things that,
aperta
you
o
know, it's
ataque
different.
pesado.
But the idea here is that one of the big counters to Hito was just like lighting. Whenever you saw Hito like throwing a heavy, often enough, if you're like, oh yeah, you know, they're gonna charge a little bit or whatever, you could like really hit them out with a light. It
Sim.
was super hard.
Você interrompe a
Make the
Rito
hero, like,
sempre
hard
com
to
um
really
light.
open up and initiate.
Agora,
That's what I was supposed
basicamente, a Hyper Armor dela vai estar mais rápida.
Max light is gonna work. So yeah.
Do
but
Heavy.
So here's the thing.
De
Right? So
abertura.
by doing this, by making this small change, it really lets her like be able to open up in a bit more like open and free manner, right? That really helps. And on top of this, we've also reduced the minimum charge time for the uncharged version, right? The version when you tap. So it used to be that you would charge for 400 milliseconds, and then the strike itself, so when it actually started to swing, was 400. So we've reduced the charge portion by 100 ms. So the total attack time when you just tap heavy is 700 instead of 8. We've also reduced the damage a little bit to compensate for this, but it also helps with the armor coming in with the slightly faster opener speed. Should really help Hito Kiri like really get there. It has a couple of like really good points, right? It adds 100 ms more delayability, so you can be less predictable with it. And it also has a pretty nice impact on frame advantage. So when you do end up landing your big heavy finishers, like those big, like I forget the name because I'm kind of bad.
I think it's big heavy finisher.
Big heavy
I
finisher,
believe
right?
that's the
fully
technical term.
charged ones
Yeah.
that are unblockable and armored. So when you do land them, you put your opponent in heavy hit reaction, and then you get a lot of frame advantage.
Right.
And so because of this, with the heavies being at 700, it gives you a bit of an edge that you didn't really have before, on top of the armor, on top of all of those good things. So we're really hoping that it'll open up Hito Kiri's game plan a little bit more here and let her be able to get in a little bit more, get a bit more pressure going, use all of her kit and get into it and, you know, just perform better.
Bingo.
So that's good. And then we've also adjusted the chain timings from her opener heavies to the chain heavy attacks. Well, the opener heavies and chain heavies to chain heavies, chain lights, well, light finishers, kicks, and whatever. So it used to be from 366 to 400 ms. So whenever you would like hit your heavy, it would block, it would hit, or whatever.
Yeah.
The time it would take for the next attack to even start would be at 366.
Yeah.
The reason why we did this is to make sure that if you threw a heavy and it landed, it was blocked or whatever, everybody could always dodge the following light. Because we felt, oh yeah, it's a bit too, like, it's a bit oppressive, it's kind of hard to deal with. So we decided to revert this and to go back to 200 to 400. So it gives you, again, a bit bigger delayability window, makes you a little bit less predictable, also makes that light tougher to deal with, right? Because if you're trying to pre-dodge whatever is going to be happening, that light is going to hit you. With the dodge changes, it also helps a little bit there, so that's great.
Yeah.
But it's like, it's all that stuff, and it also makes the hero better just because the chain heavies that have armor, the armor kicks in late. So because it kicks in late, now it's going to kick in a little bit earlier, like 166 ms earlier, which makes a bit of a difference there. So it's all those like little changes here that we can do that really help the flow of the hero and get into a position where, well, actually I feel better playing her. I get a bit more options. I can actually use everything in my kit to be able to get somewhere, right? Her kit is kind of, it's not that it's limited. There's not a lot of stuff, but it's designed to be around kind of being kind of like a blender where you're going in and whenever she does a correct read, whenever something right happens, she gets to go again and again and again and again. And that's the idea. But with those timings, that was a little bit too challenging to get to. So we kind of kind of messed around with that a little bit.
Depois eu vou
to make it a
explicar
bit
tudo,
more
tá, galera? Pera aí.
Now,
Eu preciso
last
prestar
but not
atenção
least,
nisso.
goes on the last
É muita
item
coisa.
of this. We adjusted our zone attack trajectory to better match weapon visuals.
Tá. Essas mudanças no Heavy Attack aqui eu explico depois. Basicamente, a Hyper Armor ficou mais rápida, tá? O imbloqueável vai ser acionado mais rápido e você vai ter um time maior ali entre as sequências para você usar os golpes. Mais ou menos isso. Ajustou a trajetória do zone ataque. Não sei que tipo de ajuste é esse. E aí o heavy dela agora dá 22 de dano. Porra, aí é foda, hein? Nerfaram o dano da mulher. O cara ficou falando meia hora e eu falei em 10 segundos.
Laser focus on everybody. So next up, Aramusha. So this might, this is a kind of a different change.
Mudança simples no Aramusha.
And a nerf at the same time, which might sound a little bit weird, but I'll explain.
O Blade Blockade é o full block do Aramusha. Ele vai custar 10 de estamina para entrar. Antigamente custava 5. E 0 de estamina para sair. Antigamente custava 10. Então, digamos que é um buff.
For like pretty much the entire time of the recovery, so you can cancel into it really well. We did this to make sure that you're able to time properly all these things, right? So that works well. However, you had such a large penalty on stamina when you whiffed it, because it used to cost 5 stamina just to perform the move. And if you didn't block anything, you would pay an extra 10. So it would go up to 15. It didn't really incentivize you to kind of use it. You were getting double penalized because most of the time when you miss it, you get guard broken. Something else happens. So you get kind of like double penalized here. So what we decided to do instead is put all the stamina costs for this up front. So it's on the activation itself. It now costs 10. So when you do manage to land it, it's still going to cost you 10, but it's always going to cost you 10, whether you block somebody with it or not. And so it should help also not really overuse it, right? It might just look like, oh yeah, just 5 extra stamina, but in the long term, it kind of makes a difference.
It adds up,
especially with Aramusha that has like a lot of like really fast attacks. You're blowing through stamina like crazy.
Right.
So with this, you want to use it a little bit more sparingly, but you're not as penalized when you mistime it. So that's kind of like the idea here. It's a small change, but it has a good effect on Aramusha where you end up, okay, well, you got to think a little bit more when you want to.
Eu acho que basicamente isso daí é pra, tipo assim, você não custar estamina pra sair, é tipo assim, o cara bateu no... Não vai acontecer mais ele bater no seu Blade Blockade e você ficar sem estamina, tá ligado? Chainzone can now be performed while out of lock. Tá, você pode ficar batendo infinitamente com o Yomungander agora, com o Zone, sem estar locado. Antes você tinha que estar locado em alguém para funcionar. Aquele zone que dá sequência para todos os movimentos do Yomungander. Agora, isso vai funcionar bem para limpar minion, né? Ou mesmo para você ficar whiffando ataque numa teamfight. Eu acho que isso aí tem um potencial meio zoado, hein? Será? Yomungander whiffando zone heavy que nem louco? Numa teamfight? Será que isso aí não vai dar muito estrago, não? Vamos ver, né? Eu acho que isso vai ser um mega buff pro Yomungander, cara. Cara, buffaram 2 personagens que eu amo hoje. Tô feliz.
We don't have to wonder for long because we have another segment coming up right after this where we're going to talk about the next testing grounds and
próximo testing grounds. Nada do Lawbringer, hein, galera? Testing grounds. Então, depois, a hora que terminar a live, eu volto lá nos... Eu só não entendi, assim, um bagulho muito da chain ali, da Rito. Eu tava tentando entender. Eu acho que eu entendi isso. Que você agora tem, tipo, um tempo um pouco maior para você decidir o que você vai fazer após um heavy. Pelo que eu entendi, foi isso. Vamos ver, né? Vamos ver. Depois eu volto lá, eu leio de novo. É porque às vezes os caras falam demais, tá ligado? Que ele tem que explicar o porquê ele tá aplicando aquela mudança, né? Quando na verdade eu só quero focar na mudança em si. E aí o meu inglês tabajara já não é lá aquelas coisas, né? Mas dá pra entender a maioria das coisas.
Welcome
Vamos lá,
back
Testing
once
Grounds.
again. I know it's just time flies when
Time
you're having
flies.
fun.
Yeah, exactly. Right.
Yeah.
I'm having so much fun right now.
I'm having a blast. Thank
I
you.
love doing these things. It's so much fun.
These are great. Always a pleasure. Yeah. we
Isso
have to
significa
take
que
a little
no
bit to
ordem nem
get
nu
something set
você
up,
vai
in
pro
the back here, but yeah,
Testing
so
Grounds.
we are going to be talking a bit more about the testing grounds. So JC's got more to share with that.
Yes.
Bash
So, for
Timing
visibility,
e
we,
Lawbringer
set up
parte
launch,
2.
on June 29th in Grunt
Interessante, o que seria
Live
Bash
Sales. So, yeah,
Timing, né?
be Lots of fun stuff. So what can we expect in this testing
So
grounds?
in this, we're testing actually two things in this testing grounds. We're doing testing bash timings, specifically opener bash timings.
Yep.
I'll go into a little bit more detail afterwards. And also, I think you mentioned
I
Lawbringer.
did, yeah.
Right. So Lawbringer Part 2.
Oh, there he is. Yeah,
Yeah.
I saw
There
the-
he is,
saw the
right
part
there.
Os
two.
caras realmente
So,
vão
we'll
levar à
talk about
frente
Lawbringer,
esse rework do
also
Lawbringer, velho.
in a little bit.
Awesome.
But let's get started with bash timings, right? So just as an overview before, right now in the game, like opener bashes, I mean really like front dodge bashes, right? So when you do front dodge into a bash, and so generally we have, in most cases at least, we do 500 ms bashes at 300 ms into the dodge, right? So you can delay from 3 to 5, and you dodge front, and you can do that bash. The problem we're trying to have is that you can, like, players can react to the dodge, which is fine. This is actually what we want to happen.
Right.
So that's why we start to put that timing a little bit later, so that you see your opponent dodge towards you, and then you have to make a call as a defender to go, do I dodge? Do I try to light him out of it? What do I do exactly here? The problem is that some players, especially super high level players, or players that, like, you know, have amazing reactions, those actually exist. I'm getting old, so I'm pretty bad at reactions.
I don't believe you, but
Yeah, you
please
don't believe me.
continue.
Yeah, right.
No, but
If you look at that dual tournament, you'll see it happen. So some players have amazing reactions, and so because of this, they end up being able to react to not only the dodge but the actual bash.
okay.
And because it's 500, they're able to, like, properly react. It's almost single stimuli a lot of the time. You're able to dodge out of it, and then it makes a lot of heroes' offense really lackluster. Right? If you look at Centurion, for example, where you do front dodge into kick, there's no real other options, and
Right,
so
right.
a lot of players are able to just go, well, I see Centurion front dodge, I'm gonna do nothing, and as soon as they see orange, as soon as they see an animation start, as soon as there's like the tiniest bit of movement, they're able to dodge.
Yeah.
And so this is a problem because it creates situations where these heroes just cannot open up one bit.
Yeah.
So what we're doing here, with our bash timing changes, is that we're going to be adjusting a lot of different heroes to have slightly faster front dodge bashes. And the way we're taking this is that we decided on 3 different buckets, right? So we have a bucket where it's heroes that have a front dodge bash and a non-feintable front dodge attack. So either a light only or a heavy that you can feint. So we have this kind of bucket. We have a bucket where you have a front dodge bash, and you also have
Nossa, não tá me cheirando
feintable
bem.
front dodge attack. So that gives like an extra layer of mix-up in some cases.
Estão separando em
Already
3
you kinda know
tipos
that at
de
some
personagens.
levels, because you can't really react to the animation because they're very similar, some heroes are able to, are okay at 500
Right.
because there's that heavy that you can feint or whatever. And then we have a third bucket, which is front dodge bash with nothing else, right? So Centurion, like as I mentioned before, Centurion has like front dodge heavy, but it's
Cara,
kinda,
eles vão
like,
dar
so
bash
different
reagível
from Legion
total.
King that it's kind of like easier to react to there. So
Pelo que eu entendi é
so
isso.
we've taken these 3 buckets, and then we've assigned different speeds to different heroes in there, so we can test them out. So if you look at the list right now, we have bashes with attacks that are not feintable. So we put the changes on these heroes. This does not mean that the list is complete. This does not mean that we would not apply it to other heroes when our tests, or when we end up with the results from this testing grounds. It just means we've applied to these heroes for now. So in this case, we took, for example, here Griffon and Shigoki. Their front dodge bash is now 466 instead of 500.
Nossa
So what we're
senhora.
doing also is that we're trying to go from 466 to 400 to figure out what timing is okay. I've had people tell me, like, I have some discussions with pro players at some point.
Yeah.
I go, 466 is probably okay for everything. Some of them say 433 is probably better. Some others say no, they need to be 400. So with this, we can actually fully test it out.
We answer all of it. We cover all the variables.
We cover all the
Yeah, yeah.
variables, right? So
Right.
Griffon and Shigoki are going to be 466, Scent and Kyoshin are going to be 433, and JJ and Glad are going to be 400. So with these, like we're really able to
Eles vão
calculate
colocar
the
vários
results at,
times de
we
bash
have
diferente
players,
pra ver qual te
all
fode
the different
mais.
sources to go, what speed can these
Se
use
você já não consegue reagir a uma escudada do
and at
BP,
all
meu
levels.
amigo,
Typically,
é até bom,
for
né?
these, when
Porque
you're
aí
viable
quem não reage a
at
nada,
super top
é
level,
bom já
it's
ter um negócio mega rápido, que aí
great.
quem reage a
And then
tudo não vai
also have to
reagir a
make sure
nada
that
também, né?
it doesn't really cause problems because at the 400 range, what we're a little bit more worried about is that it kind of creates frame advantage off of heavy finishers that push heavy reactions that might make it a bit harder to get into. It might be great, it might not. We want to make sure that our players try it out and really see, right? So this is more of an experimental TG than just having, hey, we're testing out changes to this hero and, you know, go ahead and
Ah,
have
isso aí
fun.
são os bash
This is more
attacks
like
que
we
não
really
são
need the community's help
fintáveis.
to help us test these because this is super
Isso
useful
vai ficar
and
muito
there's
rápido,
way more
cara.
players that are playing this game than we are on the team. So yeah, and then
Just
at this point,
awesome,
I
but
can't
yeah.
react at a 500 anyway. Not a lot of people on our team. I think maybe one is able to. So it's super tricky. So we really want everybody's help with this. So we're really hoping. So this is it for with bashes that I have non-feintable attacks attached to them.
Tá.
So for bashes with a feintable attack, we took Zanhu, Shinobi, and Yorm.
Bashes para ataques
So Zanhu is at
fintáveis.
466, Shinobi is at 433, and Yorm is at 400. Again, three
É
different
tudo
numbers.
rápido. Qual é a lógica?
Finally, bashes without any attacks. So Conk is a little bit different here because Conk was had a branching from 1 to 500. So we're testing out 466 for the speed of the
Eu não
bash
tô entendendo
itself,
qual a diferença,
having
cara,
the
porque tá
bash
tudo
at
baixando.
300 in the front dodge instead of 100. To kind of like standardize that part a little bit so that it's easier for everybody. That's kind of like good standardization in this case. I know people don't really like when we talk about this, but at the end of the day, this is a good way to standardize it because if the bash itself is not reactable, but you can react to the dodge, it creates a viable mix-up every time you front dodge. Because your opponent goes, I don't know if they're going to bash. Because you don't know if you're going to bash. They don't know when you're going to bash. They don't know what's going to be happening. Side dodging with attacks is risky. Some characters are able to like front dodge, feint into parries. They're always like parries now, so it makes like it makes a big difference, right? So we want to make this type of offense better. A little bit riskier on the defender side. You have to take more reads when you're defending against these, and it also helps these heroes to really get into their offense. But for that to work properly, it needs to be at 300, right? Because at 300, that's the threshold where pretty much everyone is able to go, oh, my opponent dodged.
Yeah.
And then you can, okay, they dodge. I can pre-dodge the bash before it starts, and you're able to fully dodge the bash here, okay? But the thing is, for these two heroes, right, we have 466 on Conk and 433 on Lawbringer. Lawbringer's then testing grounds further, so that's also an improvement for Lawbringer we're gonna have there. But we didn't have one at 400 because we know that at 400 this guaranteed is gonna work.
Yeah.
But we want to see what the threshold is, right? So again, we're gonna count on our players to really go through this and help us determine what the exact threshold is. And again, is it 466? Is it 433?
Isso é testing grounds, tá, gente? É pra teste ainda, não vai entrar no jogo, não.
You feel that Conk is okay at 466, but maybe Lawbringer needs to be at 4. Don't hesitate to give that feedback. It is not an issue whatsoever.
Eles colocam esses diferentes times, tal, exatamente pra ver o que funciona, o que não funciona, entendeu? Não estão nem tanto pensando em balancing nisso daí, tá? Agora eu quero ver, cadê o Warlord?
It's rather, you know, it's rather encompassing. Again,
Ei,
there's a lot of heroes there. If you
cadê
saw
o Warlord?
you can go back and check out the VOD after
Cadê minha
this,
cabeçada aí?
breakdown. I'm sure some of you out there are already taking notes, which is fine. But
What
yeah,
I like too is that I've read quite often on Reddit people saying, they would never do this.
we would never do this.
Yeah. And then,
Who said that? We
then-
must find this Reddit.
and then it
user.
happens. I don't know what's going on.
Oh my gosh, we got you. We got
Sometimes
you
I
this
wonder if
time.
I'm like just trolling Reddit and going on it and just going, I can't do this now, can you? And then
So, but
right.
yeah, but we'll need your feedback for sure. on
Yeah,
that.
for sure.
So try them out and
Vamos lá. Isso é só teste, galera. Basicamente, assim, eles pegaram os bashes de todo mundo e deixou mais rápido. Alguns mais rápidos, outros menos, para vocês testarem. É basicamente isso.
So what I would
Vamos ver o
recommend
rework
is
do
go
Lawbringer.
look at what we had for the VODs of the first one,
Yeah.
patch notes for that one as well, like in the blog post and everything, to see what the changes were. Because what we're going to be talking about today is the changes from the first to this testing ground. So if something was in the first one and we don't mention it today, it means it hasn't changed.
Yeah.
All right. So that's like the first thing to start with.
Aí ele não vai explicar o
So
rework
now,
completo,
let's
só o
get
que mudou.
So, Lawbringer, right? So the first thing, very first thing I gotta do, I gotta say it, because otherwise a certain Vanessa is gonna have my head. We changed the animation for the shove in chains, right? So
Yeah.
we know
O
the
Shove
shove
in Chain vai ter uma animação nova.
the most vocal thing we've had.
was.
I remember reading
Oh
back
my
the
gosh,
chat
yeah.
from the VOD and everything. Yeah.
Yeah,
So we know
we-
sometimes animations are not final when we put them in testing grounds. We felt we were like, okay, we're gonna fix it regardless.
Yeah.
But it was a huge, huge part of the feedback.
It was, yeah.
Yeah.
Which again, it was placeholder. We mentioned we were going to keep working on it,
Yeah,
but
but that's it. So
yeah.
now what it looks like is this. So,
nice.
so we don't have that kind of like jittery stuff.
Ele,
We
tipo,
still
dá
have,
uma-
slightly different visuals for it.
Tipo,
A bit
o
more
símbolo de.
angle,
Bagulho de fusão, tá ligado?
like we had before.
Fusão.
So it works well, but the animation should be at least more readable there. That should help quite a bit. So next up, we're gonna go on the rest of the changes because they're kind of important. So the first thing that we're gonna talk about is impale. So the
Raiva de
changes
20
from
de dano.
impale, right? We had a change before where you could, yeah.
Sorry.
Let's do it.
Tá longe, hein?
So impale, if you let go before, you couldn't wall splat. We had made that change so that, like, I didn't even get it there, but it doesn't really matter. We changed. We had a couple of changes to impale where that's it. You couldn't really wall splat if you let go early. You went into that little window once you hit the wall
Yeah.
to get into that follow up and everything. So all those things are gone, right? So players didn't really like it. It didn't really change anything. At the end of the day, it didn't make that much of a difference, and it had other impacts on other parts of the Heroes kit. We're gonna be talking about. But one of the things that we've also changed that is a big difference here is Impale now is only guaranteed after a light parry. It is no longer guaranteed after a heavy parry. So
Olha,
if
só
it's
tiraram
heavy,
punição de heavy.
I need to parry it because I'm really bad at this. It looks like. Yeah, see, so I can do impale. So now I hit you, but if we do it again, you can block it.
Oh, if I block the right
You
side.
block the right side, right? There you go. So it's
Ah,
blockable,
tá
it's
bem
parryable,
lento o
everything
empalamento,
offers
só
that.
funciona em Parry Light
So no
agora.
longer off of any random
Não é mais
parry.
Parry Heavy.
Can you
Já é
touch somebody with
nerfzão,
impale?
né?
Can you deal like really high amounts of damage with impale? So that's really gone there. Makes a big difference for how the hero is. The actual change is that impale after a parry is 1100 MS instead of 8. We've had to do like some work under the hood to make sure they was still coming out
Yeah.
properly. You can still do it, but it can get blocked or parried after a heavy, but not after a light. So we're good to go there. So that works quite well. So that's kind of interesting here. We've also removed the stun on the top heavy after a parry. So
Ih, não
if-
tem mais o Boink.
Yeah, sorry, do a side dodge heavy.
Side dodge of it.
Right, so this here. use
De
the
Morten
stun.
não dá mais
Remove
stun.
the stun here.
Dá só
A
25
lot
de
of
dano.
players really
Tem
were
combo
so
light,
happy with
será?
that stun still. It was the last place we kept stun. We wanted to keep it just to give it a shot. And even then, the feedback was kind of unanimous. We don't like the stun here. Perfect. Remove it. That's great. That's the kind of feedback that I like to hear, right?
Easy. Yeah.
I'd rather it be in and players don't like it and say, I don't like this, please change it, than the opposite where we don't do anything or don't change it and then people say, yeah, we have no feedback on it and then it's kind of hard to act on it, right?
Right.
We've also lowered, you can see the damage here probably on the screen. We've lowered the damage from that top heavy finisher. It used to do 32 damage. It now deals a much more
Wow.
Great.
For honor.
Okay, well, we'll just go through the text then. That's fine. So it used to deal 32 damage. Now it deals.
Você tá vendo que eu passo na live aí, gordão?
Right, so it deals 25. A lot easier to deal with. Doesn't deal as much damage. On a light parry, you don't get massive damage. You still get that guaranteed light afterwards, so you're good to go. I don't know if we can still get in, but
We wanna.
so that's for the top heavy finisher when you parry, and then the dedicated light parry punish. So whenever you you parry, if you press light, you get that quick hit.
Yeah.
It used to deal 16. We lowered it down to 12 to be like more in a normal to be like a much more normal like damage range, right? I don't think we'll be able to because we have to regroup and everything.
Oh, you're right. Okay, gotcha.
So it's fine.
Caiu o servidor. Larga o controle aí.
Parry punishes are on lights.
Por isso que os caras tá na Europa.
As the second hit in your chain, so you go to finishers, you get all that good stuff. But it's an idea of the damage was too high, so we really need to lower the damage on Lawbringer. That was
Lawbringer
one of the big
vai.
complaints that we had with it here.
Cara, eu acho que eles estão deixando os personagens, sei lá, querendo deixar tudo igual.
Next up, we remove
Não sei se precisava mexer no Lawbringer, sinceramente, cara.
Official name is on the heavy finishers for all three sides. I've read a lot of comments about maybe we should keep it on top, maybe we should keep it everywhere, maybe we should just remove it altogether. So we've decided to remove it altogether on all three sides, especially because top has that follow-up that you can go to that guaranteed light and keep looping there, which is still super interesting for us. But no longer having that armor, because those heavies have such big, wide, unblockable trajectories.
Yeah.
You don't really need that armor that much.
Vai tirar Hyper Armor, então, dos imbloqueáveis.
Although to be fair, it's still hard because it's still, big trajectories hitting you.
Right.
But that makes a big difference there. And we've also lowered the damage of that attack. It used to deal 30.
Cara, é difícil ficar comentando esses testing grounds, porque muda tudo, sabe? Então eu não gosto nem de perder muito meu tempo, velho.
Because they deal a little bit less damage, again, we're under our 30 threshold. They're super good heavies. I kept hearing from the community these are like the best heavy finishers that we have off of any character.
Nice.
They're pretty fast. They have that the top one has soft feint to guard break to do a lot of good stuff. They have big trajectories and everything. So this is great. They land too often, lower the damage a little bit, works well. Also because of the impale changes, the second heavy in chains used to deal 20 damage, right? Because the idea was you're gonna impale somebody, hit them to the wall, get into your other attacks and deal 20. But because Impale is no longer guaranteed off of heavy parries, you don't get like close to 26 damage off of a heavy parry, which was like insanely high, and a potential to ledge and everything. So, yeah. So, because of that, we were able to revert the damage back and push it back to 26. So that
Mano, esse cara tem que cuidar um pouco da saúde dele, me dá uma agonia até, não dá não, velho.
Finally, we've done some changes to long arm. So, one of the other complaints.
Sério mesmo.
Complaints is a strong word. Is that you could
Tá até meio preocupante, assim. O cara parece que vai infartar, coitado.
Not everybody knew about it, but essentially you could do like guard break and then hold back heavy and guard break and do a long arm every single time.
Ah, yes.
So normally that wasn't an issue because on live right now, like without the testing ground changes, the problem was that you can't guard break if you go into a long arm. But the follow-ups on live on long arm are not really they're not that good. You really risk a lot because you can you throw your heavy. If you don't go into a second attack, you get guard broken for free every single time. So with the changes that we've done to long arm, lets us do a lot more damage. And so having that high damage off of a guard break was way too high. So we've removed that ability entirely. You can no longer long arm off of a guard break by yourself. That was super good. Like a lot of pro players came to me and told me yeah, this is a bit too much. So we've decided to remove it, and we've also removed the fact that long arm paused and drained stamina.
Yep.
That's gone as well, so that it's still a good ganking tool. You can still do a lot of good stuff with it, but we wanted to tone it down a little bit. And the last thing that we've done, just to close this out, is the back throw distance. So if you're not super aware, Lawbringer, when he guard breaks you and throws you backwards. He used to throw you backwards super far. And you could ledge you from really far away, get you wall splats. Yeah, a little bit too late now. Yeah, so you could throw it super far away, get a lot of stuff. So we've reduced the back throw distance by half. You used to push them 2.5 meters, and now it's gonna push them a meter and a quarter. So you don't go as comically far as you used to, so it makes a big difference here. So that's it for the changes. So essentially, for Lawbringer, we know that the first one was not super well received. There was a lot. We got a lot of good feedback, not feedback that was positive, but a lot of really good feedback.
Right.
So we've taken
Todo mundo xingou o rework do Lawbringer que eles fizeram, então eles testaram ajustar agora. Vamos lá e vamos dar nosso feedback, galera.
Impale is only off of parries anymore, or still after sprint, but like really having like those changes to
Deixa ele falando aí um pouco, eu tô... Só vou ficar aqui alongando minhas costas.
It still felt like really bad to fight against a bunch of lawbringers that could just impale you off of everything. Get a lot of damage.
Basicamente, ele falou, o primeiro rework foi... O primeiro testing grounds foi um feedback muito negativo de tudo. Tentaram ajustar e agora a gente vai testar aí. Vamos ver.
Still a parry specialist, right? So still really good at parrying, still has a lot of dedicated parry punishes, but at the end of the day, still be able to be a lot more offensive because having super defensive heroes in For Honor, where your entire game plan revolves around I'm gonna sit here and wait, is not like it can be. I understand it can be fun for some players to play, right?
Yeah.
Totally. But it is not the direction that we really want to push the game towards. We've been doing a lot of strides, a lot of pushes towards.
Estão querendo deixar o Lawbringer tão ofensivo quanto os outros personagens do jogo.
Base gameplay and not really go back to the turtle meta that we had at some point where all you could do really was just like stare in front of somebody's face, right?
Just wait.
So
Yeah.
that's not super
Mas pra isso estão
interactive, it's not a lot of fun.
sacrificando tudo que ele tem de bom, né? E as
Somebody
características do
that's a reaction
personagem.
monster that's able to do
Não sei se
everything
isso é
in the full
positivo ou se é
alignment.
negativo.
Not so good either.
Vamos ter que
So
testar.
these changes were really pushing the hero towards a bit more like, yeah, you're still a parry specialist. Yeah, you still get a lot of options off a parry, but at the same time, you can actually attack people now, which
Yeah.
is what's super important here.
Oh wow! So that's very in depth. Thank you so much, JC, for sharing that. And again, for everybody out there, just we want to just stress and reiterate this: that the testing grounds is really a tool for us. It's a tool for us to gather your feedback, to try experiments with heroes, with reworks, with system changes. So it's really a great way to interact with all of you, and we appreciate the feedback that you do share and you do send our way. But just as a reminder, again, the stuff in there is generally still work in progress and doesn't always mean that it's going to make it into.
Lembrando, isso aí é testing grounds, tá? Agora eles vão fazer um resumão.
We're not wrapping up yet. Nope.
Não vão
As
fazer
Max
resumão.
is telling me, wrap up the
Yeah,
story.
wrap
Let's
it
go,
up.
it's-
No,
it's
yeah.
fine.
Mas eu já
It's gonna be music, so like the
já vou
Yeah,
falando.
no,
Galera, tanto os
Maybe
bash
let's
quanto o
call them
Lawbringer
like
é testing grounds, tá? Então nem precisa se preocupar.
But anyway, just to close that out, just thank you. Yeah, keep up the feedback. It's great to
Só
see
lembrando,
you.
terminando aqui essa live, eu vou
And,
fazer minha
we
live lá
lost
na
a bit of
Twitch,
feed,
tá?
On that,
Então
but
quem
there
tá
will
aqui
be
e não me
a,
segue ainda, vai lá na
patch notes
Twitch.
section that will be
Terminar aqui, eu vou
released.
fazer uma livezinha
Yeah,
jogando
we'll
lá.
have all the changes.
Pra gente
So
trocar
you'll be
ideia.
able to read them and try them out for yourself very soon.
Yeah. And one thing I would like to add
Yeah,
really
please.
quickly in terms of feedback that players give, right? So
Yeah.
whether your feedback is positive or negative or neutral or whatever,
Yeah.
it's totally fine. I'm okay with us getting a lot of bad feedback. It's okay because it's part of the process, it's part of what we're going towards. However, if you want to give feedback and you want your feedback to be taken into consideration a little bit more and us to really look at it more in depth, it's better to have feedback that has your reasoning behind.
Right.
So just you can and like totally if you just want to go and say I hate XYZ,
Yeah.
fine. But if you go onto wherever you give feedback and you say I don't like this and this and this for these reasons, and you go into into not necessarily get super in depth, but go I don't like this change for this reason and that reason and that reason. It really lets us get a better insight into how you're thinking and how you're playing, and go, okay, so generally as a whole, this was disliked for this, that reason.
Tá, ele tá explicando por que você tem que dar o seu feedback igual um ser pensante, não igual um macaco. Porque você chega lá e dá um feedback, eu acho isso uma bosta. Igual muitas pessoas fazem. Ele tipo fala, beleza, você pode dar seu feedback assim, mas não tem como eu analisar, levar em consideração. Então, deem os seus feedbacks pautados em motivos reais. É isso.
In depth, and the more you explain your opinions, the better it is for us, because it really lets us go through everything and really parse it and really fully understand the logic behind everything. So that's like super important. Again, if you don't feel like it, fine. Just tell us that you don't like it or that you love it. It's great. But yeah, the more info we have, and even if it's something
Nossa, estão chovendo no molhado, meu.
Really love something. If you give us more details as to why you love it.
Já entendemos.
Right?
Tá bom, você quer um feedback detalhado, você não quer só hate.
And I know like people love to kind of take part in the dev process and be able to be heard, and this is how you are best heard. So that's like the most important thing for that side.
Awesome.
Ok.
Wonderfully said. Thank you so much, JC. Thank you for sharing all the details of the patch notes.
Vamos lá, agora, hein?
Coming up very soon.
Nada, agora você vai fazer o resumo de tudo. Depois, na hora que terminar, eu vou fazer o meu resumo com vocês aqui.
wrap it up. We have a wrap-up segment coming up. We're going to go over everything, including some new content of the week, upcoming stuff. So,
Esses
don't go
new
anywhere.
content aí é só uns emote bosta, umas execução nada a ver.
Thank you very much.
All right.
Thanks, everybody.
Enquanto isso, eles vão falando, vou pegar uma água ali pra mim. O que eles falam agora é basicamente um resumo e coisas inúteis. Aí eu já volto e aí eu dou a gente dá aquela discutida, vocês do chat perguntam aí o que vocês quiserem. Já volto. Caramba, fui no banheiro, tomei uma água e ainda tá enrolando aí. Tiveram que chamar o guindaste pra ressar o Jay-Z do sofá lá, coitado. Galera, dá o like aí, quem não deu like na transmissão ainda. Quem não se inscreveu lá no meu canal da Twitch, twitch.tv/lenhadorgameplay. Terminar essa live aqui, eu já vou abrir lá, hein? Vou abrir o jogo e vambora.
Welcome back, everybody. We hope you are as excited for Year 7 Season 2 TU1 as we are. Reminder again, starts on the 15th. So just to give a quick recap.
É só semana que vem que começa essa porra.
Nolan, you wanna...
Eu querendo já meu ordem, minha
I would
ritoqueira e
love to. Thank you so
bufadas.
much, Brian. Yes, so as Brian just said, next week, the 15th, we launch the season. We're going to have new Battle Pass and Battle Bundle, which is
Novo passe de batalha.
Influence there is great. Very
O Zerk Maia aí.
the glowy boy. It's amazing. So, on top of that too, we have the Stolen Empire. Free
Então, ó,
event.
nova temporada vai começar dia 15 de junho, famosa semana que vem.
We also have the upcoming Testing
O
Grounds,
Testing Grounds vai demorar
9th to July
mais
6th.
2 semanas depois
quick,
só.
quick note on the testing grounds, because I saw in chat that
Yeah.
people were, you know, they
Então,
were worried about stuff. Just again, testing grounds is for testing stuff. I know there were some some people kind of missed the explanation of like the variable bash timings, and it's like all three of those are so we can test each one and see
Yeah,
which
yeah.
one works best. So I just want to clarify that real quick.
Yeah, no, that's a great point. But yeah, I mean, again, play it.
So it's a
give us
test.
your feedback.
It's so we can ABC figure out which one is best, and
Yeah.
then base future changes off that.
So again, exactly. So again, just give us your feedback. Let us know. It's great. So we also have
melhor
new
parte da
online
live,
flow coming
essa
up,
essa hero
great
skin
segment
bem
for
bonita.
The UI team to share with that. So that's great.
Max is crushing it today.
Max he's stoked for the Warmonger hero skin. So we have the Conquistador Vela, the hero skin, also launching next week.
So beautiful.
It was so good. Like it's great. I love the shots on there. I think Justin took the video for that back there. It
I
was-
love the compound curvature
good.
on the Kyros. That's really nice as
Yeah.
well.
I just
Armor nerd.
yeah. You were throwing out a lot of like technical armor names.
Oh yeah.
And I'm in the back
Yeah.
like, oh, it's shiny. It's
Yeah.
good, yeah.
It's such an obsession, and like once you get
Yeah.
into like armor and like historical stuff, you're just like, I can't stop it. I'm like microdosing Wikipedia on everyone around me.
Oh my gosh! Wow. Well, there you go. Yeah. What are the ruffles called again? Does
there's a term I can't. You put me on the spot.
That's the one.
We're gonna go with blouse sleeves.
Blouse
now.
sleeves. Love it. All right. Like a amazing. We already made a Seinfeld joke, so I'm not going back for that. So.
Olha aí, vai voltar o famoso veneno da combra. Evento aí do Yomungander, que aparece a cobra gigante lá no modo invasão. Quem lembra desse evento aí?
Griffin on the 13th and Valkyrie on July 20th.
Sweep the leg.
Sweep the leg. All the legs
Always
must be swept.
Yes.
So yeah, so there's that. Lots of content coming up. So
Ou o cara colocou a imagem errada, não entendi, porque ficou tão rapidinho, né?
Again, shout out Havoc for giving me the idea. Is just shining a light on some of the awesome content that our community creates. So for all of you who don't work on the game and read all of the feedback from everywhere in the community you can possibly put your eyeballs on, that's what I do. You may not know that like the biggest part of the For Honor machine, week after week after week, is the content.
Com certeza, aquela execução da marretada na bunda lá é desse evento aí.
Corner is a way to just like shine a light on some of the top like submissions that we've received between each den, and so we got a few clips for you again.
Oh,
so
I love these.
Let's jump into these.
Que isso? Community Corner. Ah, tá, é jogada.
Double dopamine execution. Because sometimes stuff just lines up in a way where you're like, I did not expect such perfection to happen. I don't know if you ever go on like the subreddit, like things perfectly fitting into other things. But
I've never visited that.
This has the same level of like dopamine satisfaction to it.
All right.
So we've got everybody's favorite biter shaman here, and I can't say really struggle bussin' for life. And then here it goes.
Oh. Só
This
isso?
execution in particular always creates fun stuff like this.
Ah, tá, que derrubou o cara.
Oh yeah, I love again the Will It Ledge category.
Yes.
Of, executions. We do check those.
And then once again, our La Vérité is back.
Olha que
with
bonito.
Another great piece of artwork.
Muito bom.
This time, Renown Illustrated.
Wow.
So,
Eu vou falar pra aqueles moleque do...
oh yeah.
Aqueles
And
moleque
this
do
one I
Revenge
have-
Alliance lá pra me mandar os quadrinhos pra eu mandar pros caras lá.
and you guys
Os
can
quadrinhos
see
que eles
what
fazem
I'm
de For Honor,
doing
quem
in
sabe a
3,
gente consegue
2,
uma divulgação aí.
1. Oh,
What?
screwed the timing
Okay.
up.
Oh my gosh! Wow, a tie. Our game has those.
Yeah, I was like, I've never seen a like
Oh man.
game tie. And then I
Caramba,
love
6
the
anos,
guy's
velho.
6-year-old little brother took his school
Porra.
sketchbook and like sketched out all the heroes. It was really awe.
I mean, I wish that 6-year-old because I don't even think I could draw that well. So.
And then, typical Raider and Kyoshin interaction there.
That is how they say hi. They greet each other every day.
Yeah, it's kind of an Indiana Jones moment where he's like,
Right.
"Look at my skills, I have practiced," and then the Raider's just like, "You in the drink."
Yeah. It's like that's nice.
And then speaking of content, I've lost my place in the content. Oh yeah, we have an upcoming tournament being run by Pharaoh.
That's right.
This is part of the crusade against cancer because fuck
Fuck
cancer.
cancer. Yeah. We got permission to say that today because it's true.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it is. So yeah, it'll be 4v4 Dominion. If you're interested, deets are right there. And you can always hit up Mr. Spaniard or Mr. Nutella if you're like, I'm interested. They'll get you all the deets.
Yeah. So, yeah. Keep up the great work there, though, team, because that's an amazing cause to fundraise for. So.
Yeah. So there's that. I mean, we've had a lot of players in the community be over the years, be personally impacted by cancer. So it's something that like the community takes really
Não, nada de novo herói, não.
seriously. But like For Honor
Por
in
enquanto não.
particular is like,
Não vai ter novo herói.
no, let's-
Revelação
we're gonna
ainda não.
crusade, let it be against cancer.
Agreed.
So,
Good stuff.
yeah, and then one other note. Speaking of content, we partnered with Era de Lupi and the artist Menacide again,
yes,
like we did
right.
last year for the year 1 through 5 lore recap. Well, that's a series we want to keep going. So we have a year 6 lore recap that's live on the Ubisoft YouTube right now.
Nice.
And we just have like the first little bit of it that we want to share with you. So check this out. Daubeny in his full glory, his golden boy little underpants. Check it out.
Ó o trailer de recapitulação da temporada.
Finally, all is ready for another great banquet. After such a turbulent year, we all deserve some good food, wonderful music, and Feronia's most famous mock battles.
Dá o Benny organizando o jantar.
Said to be held in the myth of Lord Ramiel. All true wardens strive to match his greatness, though I would say no one has ever come as close as I.
Check out the whole video on the YouTube. It's about 10 minutes long. Really gets into all of the lore behind the relics and each of the heroes associated with them on both sides, both the ones from the new cultures as well as like the some of the hero figures that may have trespassed and done bad things.
They do bad.
Yeah, looking at you, Raider.
Yeah. No good
Bullthorn.
Yeah. Bullthorn.
Bullthorn. Suckthorn.
Yeah.
Anyway, we got some content of the week.
Yes,
Nolan, do you want to take us through it?
So again, new season
Ó,
next week.
aquelas
Wednesday,
execução.
starting the Conqueror Hero Fest. So there's a new execution available right now. The paddle ball for 7K steel, and if you were playing the Death by Metal event, you might have seen this from some of the bots. So good on you. It's
More
a
like
lot of-
tetherball, really.
It's a little bit of
Yeah.
but he uses the shield like a paddle, but
Yeah, that's true. I guess that's fine. It's
Got a
cricket. It's
it's a little bit more cricket. Okay, we'll go talk to Ian to rename.
I know
it.
nothing about
We're gonna
cricket.
rename this.
I'm
No,
from
it's fine.
America.
It's okay. It's okay. We forgive you. No,
It's fine.
no, it's all right.
You're from the same place.
Yeah, I know. It's fine. It's fine. We're both from Idaho. Just random. Any Idaho people out there?
Hey,
hi.
or you two people from Idaho? Congrats.
You'll see it. So, it's so random that worked out.
I
that way.
don't know.
Also on June 15th, though, next week, we alluded to it earlier, but just to show it off again, we have a new Mythic outfit, New Worlds Eclipse for 15K steel, which is awesome. Again, I love anything Eclipse oriented and all the golds.
And this
colors.
one, it's got environmental lighting, so it'll light up the area around it.
That's awesome. So a
And I love
nice
this
light in the dark.
Yeah.
Got an awesome Eclipse there too.
Be the candle.
Be the candle, absolutely. We also have a new execution too next week. It's called the Snake Whisperer. That's right.
My snicky snack.
Yes, that's right. We finally turned the snake against your enemies there.
Now that's a danger noodle for real.
That is, yes. We've brought it full circle from the giant Jormungandr snake. Now we just are attacking people with snakes. We're throwing snakes on all sorts of maps. It's going to be great. So
Yeah.
that
And I
is-
think we got an emote.
we do, yeah. We're even, and we've decided to go back and retrofit some of the heroes who were missing. A classic, very classic, rub salt in the wound emote. You know,
You got to be able to have that salt, bro.
we do, yeah. I'll get
Salt Bay. Excuse me. Salt Bay.
salt. Yeah, we can.
I promise I know what I'm talking about.
Yeah. So if you felt that some of the new heroes were missing sodium in their lives, this has been retrofit
Oh,
for
I'm
them.
so ready for this.
And then, of course, Conquistador Vela at 25K steel. It looks amazing. Next week, this will be...
Semana que vem, 25k de aço, galera.
Every part of this armor makes me happy. Like
Baratinho.
the gauntlets, the Cuirass, the pauldrons, all of it. I'm just like, I'm
And
so
again,
excited.
the puffy parts are...
The blouse sleeves.
The bloused sleeves. I'm sorry, I'm gonna...
Well, no, so like in the German tradition, like you have your Plunderhosen, and then there's like a similar thing in the shirt, and that's what's stuck in my head. And so I'm sorry, I don't have.
No, it's fine. It's fine. I like that you're like, I'm gonna throw out like another really complicated word.
I
there,
swear to
just
God, I
like,
know it.
It's fine. It's good.
No, but yeah, in addition to all of this stuff coming like between June 8th and June 15th, we've got an arcade quest.
Ah, mano, os caras não acabam essa live logo pra eu voltar lá no Patch Notes.
Matches completed of any type.
Nice. That's easy. Just go play.
Yeah, just
go
play. And then we've got the Illusionists of Kai King, obviously Marching Fire.
Galera, aproveitar aí, ó, deixa o like na live. Não se esqueçam, temos poucos lives aí.
Other than that,
Poucos
I believe
likes.
that's everything
A lot.
except for the reminder to follow us at For Honor Game on all the things. We got it all standardized across the board now. Only took 7 years.
That's good.
Crushing it.
Hey, never give up though.
Never give up,
We always,
never surrender.
Yeah, we got to move forward. There's always more to do. Always.
So yeah, follow us on Instagram, Twitter, and right here on Twitch. Because if you're not following on Twitch, that's awkward because you're watching.
It is
right
a little
now.
weird.
But there's 30% of you aren't. So like
What?
do it. Just click
You know how many-
smash
you know how
that
many scavenger
smash that
crates
follow
that
button.
you're missing out on by not. Oh, come on. So many scavenger crates.
But yeah, thank you everybody for joining us for yet another awesome Warriors Den. We hope you're excited for the changes, for the excellent Mamistador skin. What are you saying? 180? Oh, 180 live streams. Oh yeah, this is our 180th Warriors Den.
What?
I almost forgot to mention that.
Holy
yeah,
crap.
180 dens.
Dang, that's
Yes.
awesome. That-
Milestone.
Wow.
So like we're 20 away from 200.
Nice.
We'll have to do something cool for 200. I don't know what.
We'll figure it out.
Yeah, maybe I'll get Burger King.
Yeah, we got like. I mean, if that's how you want to celebrate, I mean, I'm not going to tell you no.
It's the best of the fast food burgers.
I mean, I think it's really good.
I
You're
just
right.
started a war in chat,
Yeah.
and I meant to.
Yeah.
Anyway, thank you,
It's really
thank you so much for joining us, Nolan. Thank you for hosting with me,
Thank you for having me, Brian. And yeah, it's been awesome stuff. So
and we will see you on the battlefield.
É isso, galera. Bom, vamos lá, né? Então, o que nós tivemos aqui na live de revelação de realmente interessante? Vocês podem fazer as perguntas que vocês quiserem agora no chat, que eu vou responder, tá? Mas a única coisa relevante aqui foi a skin do novo personagem, a skin da Warmonger, que é uma skin ali naquela pegada de conquistador espanhol, tá?
Anyway, it's over here somewhere.
Cadê? Eu vou mostrar aqui pra
Yeah, so
vocês,
Herbert,
agora
you can,
acabou a live.
you-
O trailer vocês já tinham visto, certo? O trailer eu já postei aí, ó, o trailer é esse. Esse é o novo o trailer da nova season, vou deixar um pouco mais baixo aqui agora, tá? Então, nós temos essa skin nova. A skin conta parte da lore da nova temporada, que é essa pegada meio azteca, né? Azteca. Então, é isso. A skin da Warmonger. E tivemos 3 buffs muito interessantes, tá? O buff da Nuxia, ou da Nuxia, como preferirem. Ó, eu acho que o personagem novo tá aqui dentro, ó, dessa gaiola aqui, ó. Aí vocês já podem ver o novo a skin, o novo personagem, a skin da Warmonger. Novo personagem só mais pra frente, não vai ter ainda, tá? Mas assim, ó, do mesmo jeito que teve a skin do Boltorn do Raider, né? Que depois apareceu o Medjay do Egito. Teve a skin do Javier do árabe e depois a Fira, personagem árabe. E agora tem a skin aí da Warmonger, conquistador espanhol. E provavelmente o próximo personagem é mesmo um personagem com a temática dos que a gente chama de povos mexicas ou até dos povos ameríndios. Eu acho que vai ser uma mistura, não vai ser totalmente só asteca, porque não é pensado na nossa realidade, é só uma inspiração. Então eles vão pegar um pouco de maia, um pouco de asteca, até se tiver coisa de inca no meio das skins ali, eu não me impressionarei, tá? Então, vamos lá. A temporada nova começa mesmo dia 15. Dia 15, semana que vem. Onde terá o novo passe de batalha, o evento, tá? O onboarding flow, que é aqueles modos de treinamento novos, a skin da Warmonger, e é isso. Isso aqui é o que chega no lançamento, dia 15, certo? Aí mais pra frente, no dia 29 de junho, vem o Testing Grounds de que? Lawbringer parte 2 e velocidade dos bashes, que são o quê? Bashes mega rápidos para todos os personagens. É isso, tá? Depois vai ter a volta do evento Fúria de Womungander, que é aquele evento onde aparece uma cobra. A cobra. Aparece a. Como que é o nome do diabo da cobra? É Yomungander, né? A própria cobra se chama Yomungander, não é isso? Enfim, que ela cospe uma marreta gigante lá no modo invasão e você sai dando marretada em todo mundo. É um evento de invasão. Teve lá. Muitos anos atrás, quando lançou Yomungander. E aí, no dia 27 de julho, longe pra caramba, fim de julho, começo de agosto, chega o novo herói. Então o novo herói vai demorar pra caramba. Esquece o novo herói por enquanto, tá? Esquece, vai demorar. É sempre assim. Beleza? Entendido isso daqui? Vamos avançar. Vamos avançar para a parte dos reworks, dos buffs, né? Testing Grounds, que é o que importa aqui. Então vamos lá. Buffs. Nuxia ou Nuxia. Heavy Attack Now Cancel to Glass Waltz de 500 ms up from 400 ms. Então é o seguinte. As traps, você vai ter mais tempo para executar a trap. Ou seja, você tinha só 400 ms. Tipo assim, eu soltei um heavy, soltei um ataque pesado, certo? Eu tinha só 400 ms para decidir se eu ia usar a trap. Agora aumentou esse tempo, certo? Aumentou o tempo. Então você pode usar a trap dela com um delay maior, tá? A mesma coisa com o ataque em zona, certo? Então você vai ter mais tempo para pensar se vai ser um heavy ou uma trap, e ela vai ser vai ser um pouco mais rápida, tá? Então é isso, ela vai ser executada mais rápido e você vai ter mais tempo para decidir se usa ela ou não. Esse foi um ótimo resumo. Parabéns, Adriano. Guardião. O Guardião vai ser os times do ataque pesado lateral imbloqueável, finalizador. Ele vai estar mais rápido. De 900 ms, agora ele está para 800. Vai ficar bem rápido, bem útil, porque a trajetória dele vai ser aumentada, ou seja, maior hitbox. Provavelmente vai ficar parecido com o da Astria, o que é muito bom. Isso vai dar o Guardião nas teamfights vai ficar muito mais ágil, porque ele demorava muito para dar aquele side heavy. E tinha um alcance muito baixo, agora vai ficar muito bom. Você vê como pequenos ajustes vai transformar o personagem. O Shoulder Bash, que é a ombrada para frente, agora ela vai ser mega rápida também, tá? Vai ser tipo... o problema não vou falar tipo uma cabeçada do Warlord, mas assim, ela vai ficar muito rápida. Você não vai ficar mais interrompendo o Guardião que dá dash para frente, não. Tá? Para frente só, para os lados continua ainda a mesma velocidade. Certo? Hitokiri. Hitokiri, eu vou precisar dar uma lidinha melhor depois aqui, mas resumidamente a Hitokiri agora vai ter uma Hyper Armor mais rápida nos heavy ataques de abertura. Então agora a Hyper Armor está um pouquinho mais rápida, tá? Agora, para você carregar o ataque imbloqueável, tá mais rápido. É isso? Opening Attack now has a minimum charge. Isso, você carrega mais rápido imbloqueável. Pelo que eu entendi é isso. Agora, esse ajuste aqui, tá? Tá, não, na verdade, isso daqui, o que me confundiu foi isso aqui, ó. Ajuste Chain Times from Opener Heavy and Chain Heavy Attack to be from 200 ms para 400 ms. Eu acho que você vai ter mais tempo ali para você decidir o que você vai fazer entre as chains. Eu acho que é isso, tá? Não tenho certeza. Vou precisar ver depois com calma isso daqui. Agora, a trajetória do ataque em zona, eu não sei o que se... Tipo, ajuste. Se esse ajuste vai aumentar a hitbox, vai diminuir a hitbox. O que esse ajuste vai fazer aqui, eu não sei. Espero que aumente, porque a hitbox do Zone da Hitokiri é ridícula, tá? E em compensação, os ataques pesados de abertura, eles vão dar 22 de dano. Eles davam 24. Tirou nerfzinho aí. 2, certo? E o Aramusha agora, o Blade Blockade, né? O full block dele, custa agora 10 de estamina para entrar e 0 para sair. Ele custava 5 para entrar e 10 para sair. Então é um pequeno ajuste que vai melhorar aí o Aramusha, tá? Yomungander. O Yomungander, a chain dele agora, tá? O chain zone, na verdade, pode ser feito mesmo sem estar com a mira travada. Ou seja, você dá qualquer coisa com o Yomungander, você dá um zone, você pode fazer mais qualquer coisa. Aí você dá outro zone, você pode ficar sempre linkando os golpes com o zone. Isso só funcionava se você tivesse locado. Agora funciona com você não locado, certo? Fora isso, galera, mano, é isso. De importante é isso, tá? Então, espero que vocês tenham gostado aí da live. Desculpa o atraso para abrir. No final eu sempre dou aquela mega explicada e resumida, tá? Personagem novo por enquanto nada, só a skin da Warmonger mesmo. Então, tô fechando essa live aqui. Vou abrir a live lá na Twitch pra gente jogar, trocar ideia e vamos ficar a tarde inteira aí. Beleza? Pra quem fica aqui no YouTube, muito obrigado. Não esqueça de deixar um like aí. Um abraço e até a próxima.